Who doesn't love nostalgia? And nothing makes you feel nostalgic like old Polaroids. I'm going to show you an old Polaroid effect that you can integrate into your online learning. This is pretty cool. The first thing we need to do is make the image shaped like an old Polaroid. This image is oddly shaped, and there's no rule that says you have to keep the image in the same shape that you find it in. So I'm actually just going to use the two boys on the left. I'm going to click on the crop tool, and unfortunately we're going to crop out the boy in the hat and just use this part of the image, which is shaped more like a Polaroid. When I press enter, the third boy is gone, and we have a nice picture of these two boys palling around. So now we want to make the Polaroid frame. You remember Polaroids have kind of a white frame around them. So let's go ahead and take this layer and let's reduce it in size. Make sure the layer is unlocked, double click it if you need to. And then with the layer selected, hit Control T. And we're just going to hold Shift while we position this image inside what's going to become the frame. There we go. That looks about right. And I'm going to shift it just so it's slightly more towards the top than towards the bottom. So there's less space on the top than on the bottom. That's how old Polaroids were, if you remember. All right, so now that we've done that, I'm going to press Enter, and I'm going to create a new layer with the New Layer button down here at the bottom of the Layers panel. I'll drag that layer below level 1, and we're going to fill it with white. So first of all, let's select the entire layer. We can do that with Control A, and now choose Edit and Fill. So I've selected the whole layer with Control A, and now we're going to fill it with a color. Let's not use 100% white, but pretty close. Let's just add about 2% black in there, just so there's a little gray. I don't like using complete white. It's not realistic. Okay, so now we've got kind of the beginnings of our Polaroid. We have the image here on the white background for the Polaroid. So now we're going to want to discolor the image purposefully so it looks a little more like a Polaroid. These colors are too vibrant. If you remember what Polaroids looked like, they never have this level of vibrancy, mostly because they were developed in the camera itself. So let's go ahead and let's make sure we've got our layer 1 selected. I'm going to go ahead and Control click so we just select the pixels on layer 1, and we're going to create a new adjustment layer. Layer, new adjustment layer, and this time we're going to go with the levels. Click OK. The levels show us the distribution of colors across the entire image. So let's go ahead and let's slide the left side to, about here. That's going to darken the image a little bit and kind of increase the black point, so we actually set the black point, or the deepest black, further away from the edge, which gives us the full spectrum of color. And now I'm just going to set the white point, because Polaroids didn't quite have the spectrum of color, to right here. That's about right. So now we've got some adjustment, but the second thing we want to do is we're going to give this a slight orange hue. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to once again Control click on layer 1. I don't know if you remember, these Polaroids were kind of orangey, if memory serves. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose Edit and Fill. And we're going to choose Contents Color, and we're going to choose kind of an orangey, kind of rusty yellow like that. And click OK. Now, of course, you can't see the picture, but what we're going to do is with layer 3 selected, that's got the orange in it, we're going to go ahead and bring the opacity down to, about 15%. And that gives us kind of a more Polaroid-ish look to the image. The last thing I want to do is I want to create a little more blue. So let's go ahead and add another layer. Again, on top of the layer we have, making sure we have the correct pixels selected. Let's choose Edit and Fill. Again, we'll fill with a specific color. And this time we're going to choose something in the blue range. And let's fill it. And now let's bring the opacity down. And now we've got kind of a Polaroid look. This looks a lot to me like the old Polaroids. All right, so now that we've got all this done, we have our Polaroid, but there's one more thing I like to do to pull off the effect. So if you're happy with it, we can go ahead and take all these layers and we can put the Polaroid on some type of background. So let's go ahead and create a new document. And we'll just create a document that's 1920 by 1080, which would be typical for HD. And let's grab everything in our Polaroid. Let's put it on the next document. Easy way to do this. I'm going to select all the layers that are part of the Polaroid. I'm going to choose the layer palette menu, and I'm going to link these layers. So now they all work together. Oops, looks like we forgot the blue one. Let's get that as well. So again, just select it. And let's link the layers. So now all our layers are linked, and that means they're going to move and work together. So we've got our new surface, and you can just kind of drag them onto the new surface with all of them selected. And there we've got our Polaroid. Before I add the background, I'm going to hit Control-T. I'm going to rotate the Polaroid a little bit. I'm going to size it the way I want. I'm going to add a drop shadow effect, which I can do to the bottom layer. We actually can unlink these now. So if we have them all selected, unlink layers. So the bottom layer, which is our white, let's add our drop shadow, clicking the bottom layer and drop shadow. And the last thing we'll do is let's just add some kind of background. I'm going to make this very, very simple. Just do kind of like a yellow to white. Yeah, kind of like that. And we'll take our gradient tool right here and making sure we're on that background layer, let's put in our gradient. And there you go. So now you have a Polaroid effect from an original full color picture.